person, remembering name is easier than our IP.
So we can set into AMs with their names.
Pardon me?
We can into the AMs with, by using their names.
Yeah. Yes. We have a domain name server here, which is 10.100.1.49. It's in Colo. Okay. So in Colo, basically, this is a DNS server where you basically create. Let me just check. Right now, it's not relevant, but it's IP. Kathy, you remember the login, because now we don't log in into that.
I think so. It's admin. Okay, 0 stack test 1.
Basically, Avinash, you will not need to log in over here because everything is set. But I just wanted to, okay, admin 0 stack, that is for us. So basically, you need to create a domain, right? So what happens is in a DNS server, you register your zone first, right? And on that zone, so basically zerostack.com is your domain, which is a zone basically where somewhere we have registered that so we can use it globally. So same way we have registered our domain in our local DNS server, right? Because we want only our VMs to be specified as or accessed as main. So this server can be any global server as well. Okay, if you want to globally access that in that way.
Okay.
So right now we have registered our domain, under this we can actually have a lot of subdomains. One sec. So basically here we give that upstream domain name and an upstream server, right? This is our DNS server, and then local domain. Basically, local domain is under. It's a kind of tree, like it's a subdomain to this particular domain. Okay.
Okay.
That's the only important things you need.
So what we have to put in local domain?
Local domain is something which is registered. So here, when you go to my domain, so my domain has server 1 or something which is already registered. So you can get that detail from actually a file inside this. You need to connect to this VM, and basically you have to check for forwarding list.com, where you will get the detail what all you have registered. So that forwarding list will contain all the specified domain names. Okay. So under this, actually there might be another things which I'm not able to see right now. Basically, under which we can here it is server1.mydomain.com, right?
Yeah.
You can have another one cloud.mydomain.com, but you have to basically create that here. So if I try to see, can't remember this. Power DNS. Power DNS. PowerDNS.com. Here we can see what all is registered. Are you able to see this?
Yeah.
Okay. So here basically we give the details of what domain I'm using and who is basically who has registered to that domain. So this is like 29 who is listening to this one. Okay. You don't have to do anything about it. You just know for dev1 cloud.
Cloud.
Yeah, cloud.mydomain.com. Okay. Now how to basically test what kind of test scenarios we have. So most of them are basically verify certain things. Let me just one sec. Where I open the filter, yeah, it's so most of the things basically in the UI, as far as UI is concerned, they are okay. Let me just check. Oh yeah, in my when you so if you go through the test cases, you will find that many of them are just to verify here whether when you have domain created, I mean DNS setting is there in the cluster. So what kind of message you should see. So because I have logged in as an admin, it is telling me that zone has not been enabled. If I disable that from the settings, what kind of message that should show me? So basically, if I do not have, then it will tell me that go to administrator, contact your administrator, and if I have logged in as admin, then it will tell me that this click button will take me to the global setting page that you have to enable zone for the cluster. Okay, so those things are to verify here. Yeah. So these most of the test cases, I think Gayatri have seen already that they are to verify whether this is showing me correct thing or not, because that is how user is gonna. Right. So here, because the setting is already there in the cluster, so it will take me to the project configuration page where I can actually enable it.
Okay.
Right, so let me just okay. So when I go to project here, so I have logged in as a view admin and it is guiding me to go to the project configuration because it is already enabled in the setting. So I can enable it from here. Right, so while testing those things to verify is very important because that gives you the user experience. So most of the test cases are to verify in certain places. Okay. So I have enabled the zone here. I have saved it, and what calls it is making. You have to check that. So this is my zone post call, right? Zone post call is to basically giving me the details of this project and what zone I have selected, and it's basically updating in the sky side, right? After that zone post call, there will be certain other calls. And this is my post call, and it gives you these details. This is my project zone name, right?
Yeah.
And after that, these are the details of this project, and action is create, right? After that, there will be certain other calls. These are the get calls for this project. So I am in. Basically, this is checking. This get calls after the zone post call is to check whether the status has changed. So the action would change to something else. I'll just Google this. One second. Let me just remove that. this is the post call. After that there are calls, but I don't need this. I'm losing that. I don't know why it is sorted with something else. Open it. I think it was sorted with something else. I'll remove this. And save. So basically, when it makes the zone post call first time, it polls on that call again, and it makes a lot of get calls to check whether that action status is basically changed from create to done. And after that, it actually makes a metadata call that I wanted to show you. So I have cleaned it now. I'll show you now. So right now, what I did is I'm trying to remove the zone call, zone from this project. So what it has made this zone delete call right now.
Around 4:15. Okay.
It's taking some time. So that metadata call which happens in the project, basically it updates when you create a zone. It basically UI makes a metadata call which will update the zone details in project metadata.
Okay.
That is what I wanted to show. So sometimes I have seen that it makes that call, but it doesn't create a record entry, or it doesn't update a metadata of that project. So there are bugs filed on that. So while testing, you have to basically check those things.
Okay. So we have to check all the calls and actions related to it.
Right. So whenever you are testing, just preserve this log and try to basically check all the calls went through and have that screenshot with you. Because sometimes I don't know why it doesn't go through it. Either it doesn't update the record, or it doesn't update the metadata, which is not easy to.
Metadata
That will happen when you update. I think I will leave this window and I'll open another window because it is taking.
Okay.
Let's start here. Actually, I think dev team has they basically enabled this, so that's why I didn't remove the DNS setting. They are doing something. So let's enable in this project and fresh.
Okay.
Because delete zone is taking too much of time. Okay. So I'll just say. So this is my zone post call, which is accepted, and then now under get calls. Status pending action is create. So this is actually these calls, these get calls are to poll whether the action is done or not. Now you see action is none and status is active, right?
Okay.
Which means this has happened. Now after that it makes a patch call. Okay, where it patch call which is actually updating the metadata. You see, zone name is there now, and that call so fast, and then there is a put call. Why we are doing this put calls? 3 calls. So basically UI is not able to differentiate what we are updating here, right? So what it does is it makes this patch call to update the metadata, and after that it makes 3 put call to update the quota for 3 different things. One is for compute, network and storage. So basically this configuration page has compute, network and storage, right? I can always go and change something here. Which UI cannot differentiate, right? So along with having this patch call, they are also making this put call to update the latest quota, right? So that, and after that there is the DNS get call, which is not required basically. They just do it to check. So our actual make call is up till here, put. After put, it's all done. So if this patch call only happens when this particular get call returns action is none and status is active. Okay, so this is done. Then, so while testing, basically there are scenarios where you have to enable and then you have to create some VMs using this particular zone. So, Avinash, can you go and mute? I am getting a lot of noise.
Okay.
Okay. Image visibility call is pending.
The setup has already become very slow. Even yesterday it was slow and I wanted to pixie, but they are still upgrading the builds, and the I guess 256 and 261 are yet not gone to production. So we again will have to keep this setup, but this actually needs to be pixied.
No, I saw your message. Actually, I think even though setup is old, we have enough resources. If you see, basically this is happening because I think we have a lot of records in DB and which alive.
Yeah.
So we'll find the bug for that, because ideally it should not take time. If you check the dashboard, we have enough resources right now.
Yeah.
Give me a minute. Share my screen again. So I was trying to tell in this page that while assigning with the reserve pool, so what I would encourage, if I have missed any test case, but do test it with all of this auto assign from reserve pool. So because while testing assign from reserve pool, I found that when I'm trying to unassign from the reserve pool, when I was doing unassign floating IP, the IPs were not going back to the reserve pool. So while testing, you basically prefer to test in both the scenarios.
Okay.
Okay, one thing which I think you guys didn't see, sorry, because I was disconnected. So basically, as soon as you showed you here, right? You guys were connected that time when I showed you patch, call and put calls, right?
Yeah.
You should check here in networking tab. There will be a DNS record here, okay? This is created after you do that, enable this DNS entry. From configuration, when you enable DNS for the project, then you get these things. This DNS record shown here, okay? So that you should always check, and when you are deleting that, same thing you should check here. So in some of the cases, what happened is UI is making a lot of calls when you enable the zone for a project. So what happens is, as I told you that sometimes in some cases call went through, but they did not create a record here, okay? And or sometimes it is not updated the metadata. So what happens is, when you are trying to basically create a VM with a DNS entry, it doesn't allow you to do that. Either it throws error. So in that case, it's important to have that. So when you basically enable that, you go and check, cross-verify the calls and cross-verify in the DNS record that record is being shown. And similarly in the delete call as well. So we were having a delete call right here, which was on progress. Okay, something has happened here. Okay, so delete went through, I guess. And after that, a patch call. This patch call is to update the metadata, right? I think. So you see, zone name has removed. So this patch call is to basically this, and again there are 3 put calls, you see, because while deleting also I can always update the quota, right? So they make 3 explicit put calls as well to basically update the quota for 3 different things, right? So these things you have to check while testing. Okay. Great. So basically this bug has already been filed when an external network is not connected with the when the internal network is not connected with the external network. Oh, then we should not show that. External one, we selected external one, right? This is a weird error. Because I created FIP on external network and okay, so you understood Avinash, what is this error about?
I think internal network is not connected to external one.
And how do you connect that?
Routers.
So that is missing here.
Okay.
So basically that's a bug filed already, that you should not show those external networks. Those internal network to create a FIP, but that has been not worked on. It's very slow, man.
Yeah, VM creation is also very slow.
It's showing me create network, but it is not showing me the network list. Right now, I do not have any other setup that I can test. Okay, so I have used network now. Let me just go through quickly. Let me see. Which call is pending here? This network call is pending. This call is region-wise. Actually, I don't know why we need this call, right? We don't need this call, right? Why we need region-wise network?
No, because some of the networks in that project will be shared networks, so it is pulling up all the list of shared networks, and for that.
No, it is a region-wise. It's not even talking about the project or shared network.
Okay.
That's why it is taking too much of time. I think that UI team knows better.
Yeah, I'll check with them.
What? It's network 11 business share. Okay, this one. So let's. Oh, there is another bug on this. Okay, there is another bug on this that it doesn't being on the same this thing. It doesn't give you to attach router.
You'll have to select external one.
Yeah, no, it is. It will not show you that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay, so let me go through, because we created a lot of network at that time. So while testing, so let me just see which, or maybe let's create safely then. Public network. Okay, it's connected. Both are not populating. DNS network. Wait for this one to populate. It's too slow, but it's not giving me this also. Okay. It overwritten everything. DNS. If we make a default and just create that, it's all correct. I'm just creating a VM2 here. Citing colors of one. And DNS is in this VM call also similar thing, okay? When you are creating VM, okay, after the VM is created, there will be a lot of other calls here, right, for floating IP, and then, so basically there will be a server call, after that there will be several other calls. So in that there are, one call is for record and metadata if you see, right? So basically this is UI does, that it updates the metadata of the VM with the zone details. Okay, so before that there will not be any zone details. So this is another important call. This is metadata call and this is records call, right? So basically that creates a record with this VM. So if you go to DNS records, you will see this entry over there, right? And then there is a metadata call which updates the VM's metadata. Oh, what happened? Let me just sync. Yeah. So there is one test case where you basically, here you will get an icon. So this icon is not visible. Here you get a round circle here where you can actually highlight. When you highlight, so in multi-NIC scenario, you will be having a lot of NICs, right? So right now we support only one what do you call it, FQDN for a VM. Although you can actually have multiple FQDN per NIC, right? So for every NIC you can have a FQDN. So when you basically here you will get an icon which is which I am not seeing so that icon, when you highlight, when you hover, basically it will give you the IP address to which it is attached to, right? So that is right now not showing up, but yeah. So here is your IP address to which you attached, and this is your FPG. So this actually shows up very quickly, but this comes a little late with all these details, and it should be visible clearly here. And then now, how would you test once you have this FPDN? So basically, right now I can test from my local desktop. If I want to test from my local desktop, what I have to do is I have to change my host file and should point to the 29, which is my Nginx IP for that particular cluster. So right now what I'm going to do is I'll see, and I'll log into SSH 0 stack at the rate 10.101.1.29 is my Nginx IP, which is basically that external service provider IP, right? This is zhost 1. Okay, so what I do is I'll just see. Okay, first you try this. Ping this. Is it working? Try to ping this one. Then I'll tell you what happens. So this is pinging, right? So now, you see, this is a name server detail over here. You have to edit that and make it to basically, what I did is I went to the resolve.com and get the IP of star nginx. So star nginx knows my VM, okay? So when the request goes to him, okay, it is able to resolve my what is called this entry, this FPGA. So I can ping my VM from your local laptop. Now, then you have to basically change your host file and point it to server, which is 101.49, or point it to this one. But that IP should be pingable from your local desktop. Okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gayatri, I'm not able to hear you. Did you
Yeah,
ask
got it.
anything?
Yeah, no. I said got it, yeah.
So now what I have to do is, yeah, so I'll go over here. So here it is attached. If I have the test here, and to those projects where I have already existing VM. So what I do is it through either OVA or through migration. I test these options over there. That should work with those workloads as well, right? So those things. So I'll go to manage network and I'll change the settings to security group. And you can basically add any other security group. So right now, if I make it to default, what happens? Am I able to ping? So basically, right now I'm not able to ping because default doesn't support any ping options. So those things you have to keep testing. Some permutation combination. Sometimes I just create a SSH, only ping, that kind of security groups and test. Okay. So change to ping. See, I was not able to ping as soon as I make it to default. Default to basic, it just started pinging again. So now let's oh, this guy doesn't have that. Wait, then SSH Seros. Okay. Now you can actually see if on. This is, we are inside the Seros. Okay. So that is why basically I try to create different security groups in my projects so that I can basically check whether it is following security group has been given to the particular NIC. Okay, then I wanted to show you this. In the DNS records, you will see this entry again, right? This is my VM's entry. So when you detach, this record should modify itself, should be updated. Okay, so now you can detach it, and when you detach it, I would be able to ping it with because as soon as you basically detach this FPDN, it doesn't go because it depends on the TTL time to live. So after some time you will see that you won't be able to ping that. So you have to wait for some time, or you can note this down so that you can later on try and ping and test, right? So it will not work. the calls are taking so much of time. So detach will basically remove this FQDN from the VM. It will make another metadata call, and it will basically put call and do all of that stuff which we did while creating the VM, while attaching the FQDN. Okay, so the other way is okay, so while testing this, basically you do attach, detach, and then you also test well, there is a issue, I don't know, where it's very slow, maybe that's the reason. Might be an option that unassigned floating IP, right? So when you do unassigned, see, so it's so slow that you do this, open up some menu, it basically runs through some logic based on which it will give you either attach or detach. Detach has worked and this FQDN is gone. And just check that whether you are able to bring that VM. Okay. Okay, so detach has done that, and we are able to ping with the FQDN yet, because I think that TTL is of 4 hours. Okay, so basically you have to either note it down and check it later on. Okay, it's 4 hours, but sometimes if it is about to expire, then it works quickly. So that way. Unassigned floating IP. So when you are doing unassigned floating IP, so right now I have detached it, right? So detached has removed this FQDN, but otherwise there is another option that I would detach the floating IP, and the FQDN will go away with that, right? Because it is basically connected to the external IP, FIP, right? So let's do one thing. Let's unassign the floating IP and just check that. So unassigned floating IP I'm doing, and I'll again assign with the FQDN. I think I have overshooted the time, Gayatri. If you have any calls, just let me know.
Yeah, I guess my doubts are cleared. I mean, I mainly wanted to see for verification of these IPs, and the rest of the stuff, like, I'm pretty okay with. Yeah.
Yeah, because you already know these things. So for Avinash, it was important to see how to test that.
Right.
So DNS record should also go away. You see, I have detached that and it has gone, right? So those things you need to verify every time you do that. And Avinash, you can basically from here, when you have existing VMs, how do you do that? So this is the case, like you can go to assigned floating IP, and there are certain things to verify here also. So what it says that
auto assign.
yeah. So right now it will not make sense. I'll tell you where to check that. So let's take any of them. And here basically you can edit out. There is an edit option. So what you test, Gajay and Avinash, when you are having the existing FQDN, so right now we do not support duplicate FQDN, okay? So when you are, so you can create a VM, so if I give it as VM, right, it will take it right now, right? And then I'll try to create a VM with name VM. You understand? So then it will tell you that, okay, this FQDN is already existing, right? It will not allow you to create the VM at that point. It will ask you to basically update the FQDN, the first part of it. So those things. Then now when you unassign from here, okay, when you unassign, now if I unassign this 220, the FQDN will automatically be removed. So that you have to check.
Okay.
test. So because Gayatri is pretty much.
No.
I'm so sorry. You go through the test cases. Apart from 160, there are other cases for SL.
Hello.
As well.
Your voice is breaking.
So just let me know if you have any doubt on that. And all that stuff. Few test cases which are actually testing these things. Okay. So 160 test cases. Let's go through DNS, but you have time on that. Okay.
Hello.
Are you able to hear me on that?
Yeah. What is it?
So this is pretty much it. You have to basically keep checking the network calls, what is going in, and
Okay.
there were other bugs which I filed initially, but you can include in your test.
Hello. Can't hear me.
Right. Change the what you call template. Okay. So changing just when I'm save it, DNS entries were moving, meaning deleting. Was not handling that part. Also, when you are trying to create a key pair, right? I create a key pair for this project. So basically, they make another metadata call. They were not handling this. After enabling DNS, you can basically test creating a key pair or changing a configuration, meaning template in the configuration, and test that. So I'll let my test cases because that has come through some experience what is happening. So I might have to update all cases. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
Can you repeat that key pair thing? What you said about key pair? Actually, I'm not able to hear you.
Okay. What happens is when you create a key pair, import a key pair, it makes a metadata call, right? So basically, metadata call is project metadata where you update what key pair you have or something like that. So a lot of information it has. So what happens is when you make that call, earlier when DNS service started, this feature started, use properly, and that DNS entry, this DNS detail was going off. Okay. Okay, because while updating that, they were not handling these things, and in the configuration also, as soon as I was changing the template of the project, making it medium, small, or large, they were deleting the zone entry, because at that time they make a metadata call, right? That patch call. So what was happening that they were not handling this. So zone entry was getting deleted, right? So that was a bug. So when you are testing, please keep doing that. So wherever the metadata call happens, you should do all those activities to check whether zone details are still there or not. Okay. So those things. So once you enable the zone, then do all that operation, keep your VM with all the zone details, and then try to delete the metadata and go back to the VM and check all the zone entries are deleted from the VM. Go to the record, check whether all that entries are gone because you have already removed it from the project. So these entries should be removed. This particular thing should be removed. You would not see this particular tab itself. So those things should, as part of delete what you should check, and as part of create what you should check, I have given you details. If there are some test cases, meaning few things came as a experience while testing, so I'll update the test case or maybe create 1 or 2 new test case. And when you guys are testing, if you find something really a weird scenario which we should include in the test case, please do that. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks Swarupa. This was very informative.
Yeah, so go through the test cases, Avinash, and let me know if you have any difficulty on that. Okay.
Yeah, thanks Swarupa.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, bye. Bye guys.